Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JD TV. I'm your host for today, Josh Deming, and I am joined by JD from iMaxit Football and Wemaxit Football, right? You got two channels there?
Yep.
Which one do you post on the most right now, JD?
I think it's Wemaxit at this
Wemaxit?
point. Yes.
All right. I was just making sure because I saw both of them before going live here, and you're getting close to 20,000 subscribers on one and close to 15 on the other. So JD, you're coming on today to talk about Suriname. We have Canada, Suriname in the Concacaf Nations League quarterfinals. So first things first, man, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Hope you're keeping well.
Thanks for having me. And hi, everyone. Yes, I am doing well. I'm feeling comfortable and lovely. I can't wait to talk about this one because I saw some tweets on the internet and I'm wondering if some of the Canadians getting a little bit rude. But you know what? I think Canadians are respectful people. So let me leave it right there.
I like it. It just depends which fan bases you're asking, because sometimes we come off of a little rude, I guess. But all right, JD, let's dive right into the first talking point today. And now, if there's a lot of new Canadian fans that have got interested in this sport, basically from the World Cup all the way up to the incredible Copa America we went on, but way back in the very beginning of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers,
Yes.
Canada actually played Suriname. They needed to win that match to move on to the next round of World Cup qualifying, which they did. You and I chatted about that way back then, so if anyone's returning to the channel, this is not the first time JD has been on talking about Suriname. So fast forward a bit, JD, and just kind of talk to me of some of the events, I guess, that happened ever since that match, because the Suriname team looks like they've done pretty well in terms of recruiting dual nationals, and this does not look like a team that Canada should take lightly.
All right, what I would say is that first phase was a trial. And I love the fact that they did not revert back to their old ways. They said, let me take it one level. So they had failed, yes, but they never really had much to go to the top. But what they have witnessed, okay, Ryan Dunk and others can come here and they can fit in and roll with the big dogs. They can't get over the top. You saw the Costa Rica game at the time, that was 2-1 and stuff. So they felt, okay, something can happen. We can fast track this because the country plays a level of football and the Netherlands plays a similar level of football. So once you come here, even if we can't full the field with new players, we can merge them and it could work. So after seeing that work, I saw that they wanted extra pieces and they themselves went out there and hunt. You had Bessiswar and Cherry, those two technical footballers. They were getting older. So what they did, they said, okay, let me just go on a spree and try to get a lot of individuals. And at this point, their entire roster and pretty much pool at this point, you could say that they have at least 35 mid players from 200k to 10 million, which is incredible because that is close to the 4th to 5th best pool in CONCACAF. Maybe they're not at that level as yet because they need experience, but at least everyone would want to say, let me get the players first and experience next. So that's where I think they're at now. We will get into some of the players so people couldn't get to know about some of the players. And you said, yes, Canada, I think, should worry. I am not going to listen to that guy to say that you should play the kids against them because they just outplayed Costa Rica. And Costa Rica is a traditional top 5 team. So unless you're disrespecting Costa Rica or saying Canada is just the elite, which they are,
Yeah, no, it's a thing with newer fans, I think, where a not established country can find some dual nationals and find some experience and maybe just get overlooked a little bit. I know, because I've been following you, JD, and I've just been seeing the Suriname team, that they've brought in a ton of talented players. Doesn't mean it's always going to work, and it's always interesting when I chat with you because Jamaica has been doing the same thing for a while, and they've had moments of brilliance, and then they have had moments where it just doesn't quite click. So that's why I'm really curious to get a little deeper dive into this team that you're going to put together, because I asked JD beforehand to put together a potential starting 11. But I think some of the newer Canadian fans maybe just see the name Suriname and don't really expect that they will be able to compete with the traditional big dogs. So JD, this is your opportunity to kind of walk us through what your predicted starting 11 could look like. Talk about some of the players as well, the new players, and highlight maybe one player that you think could really shine in this match?
All right, one player off the top would automatically be Charlie Baker. He is as popular as the Jonathan David, Leon Bailey in worldwide football. He's currently playing in Spain. You just saw Real Sociedad defeated Barcelona, the top Barcelona team, and he was the man of the match. So that alone tells you he was the man of the window for the last Concacaf as well. So he's on a good trajectory at this point. So I think maybe he would be feeling himself to say this is the perfect time for me to get to play Canada. All right, so he would be the star man right there. And the worst stuff, we don't have Alphonso Davis, which I think you're going to be talking about as well. I think Adakobe with up against him, it's going to be a good test because Alphonso Davis and him usually have some good battles, and it was not always Alphonso Davis coming out on top, which the history is there to watch. So that tells you the quality of players that they're bringing in. You saw Dextale right there. Dextale is a fullback, brings physicality, something that I thought that you could easily shake the Suriname teams of past, and they could have rattled. So I think they need more steel because they always rely on this fleet-footed football, technical tiki-taka football, total football. You get me? So I think he will be one of the steel coming in. Abena just got a move to Russia as well. Moscow. I think he's on the up as well. So, and he's a right-hand side player naturally. So he was in the team from before. So I think his progression is based off the fact that the team starts to improve. So he has to be fighting for that position. Denzel, you guys know Denzel as well. He's in Turkey. Very good footballer. Played across Italy and also in Belgium as well. Very, very technical footballer. And I think that he really improves the team. Vassen comes in for Wanahan. Technical footballer as well, goalkeeper that is, but he completes the package right there. So Denzel and him, very good. Apps was there from before, and Apps is a quality footballer and still one of the more capable left backs in the entire region. So that shows you their backline is super good. In midfield now, because this is where I had a problem. Lone Wake is one of the younger players that came in, and I would love to put him there. But because you have Shaquille Penas being the captain when you never had Denzel, Penas can play left side centre back, but also he can play as a DM. And I know that you have Ustakio and Kone and others will be trying to marshal midfield. I would feel more comfortable to use two deeper tacklers. So I would go with Kenneth Paul and Penas at this point and switch between Farai and Lone Wake to be that cam for me right there. But both Lone Wake and Farai are two new additions. Lone Wake plays deeper and feel comfortable playing deeper because he's like 6'2", 6'4". And he's very big and technical as well. Farai, he came in on a bang, creative player. He will create, he will unlock anything. And he really kicks off in the Concacaf region. Good enough for me, yes. And then up front now, you have Messidian, left wing, right wing, and striker. Technical footballer. He was one of the best dribble completion player in the region, and he made the team of that window as well. So, and then you would put in the star boy from the country, which is Vlata. You had Vente. You have a lot more other strikers that you could have put in, but I said, okay, it's at Suriname, Paramaribo. Let me go with Vlata, which is my baller. That's how I started Suriname with him. So I would just use him for now, but they have so much addition, and you can't disrespect a team like this that can just pull off a lot of players in the Concacaf region. If it was Europe, I could say yes, but in the Concacaf region, Suriname is not a team that we should just cast aside and said it's going to just be a walk over 3 points. It's going to make Canada work for some things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just look at the starting 11, you got a lot of Dutch influence. You have Charles Becker, who's playing in La Liga. You have, that's the same type of level of players that Canadians have. Like, if we had a player playing in the Belgian top flight, we're excited about him. He'd be a part of this team. So there is a lot of talent here, and I'm curious to see. We'll take a look at some matchups after I go through what I think Jesse Marsh is going to do with the starting 11. If we can take a look at maybe how we think that the two teams could line up against each other. So for my predicted starting 11, I'm going to go. Well, I'm first going to tell you, JD, just so you have the full picture and everyone watching as well. Some of the big changes that have happened with injuries. So some key players that Canada is missing is Liam Miller, who unfortunately is out for this season with a nasty knee injury. Young Nathan Saliba, thought he could maybe be on it. I assumed if he would make the roster, maybe he'd come off the bench, but it's at the back where there's two big pieces that this Canadian team is missing. Derek Cornelius, who's having a wonderful start to his Liga campaign with Marseille, and of course Alphonso Davies, which is a massive loss. He's been a huge player for Jesse Marsh. He's taken on the captain's role. He's playing at left back, which I think he really suits him for this national team right now. So there's going to be a lot of work to do for Canada to make up for it. And for the starting 11, where I think I'm going to go with this, and there's some debate, but I do believe Jesse Marsh will go with his 4-4-2. He hasn't indicated to me at all that he's going to change it. One question mark could be between the sticks, Maxime Crépeau, Dane St. Clair. I think Dane's in better form, but I will go with Maxime Crépeau to be the keeper. I just think in a game like this, quarterfinal, knockout, Jesse's going to go with maybe the keeper he's shown a little bit more trust to, and I don't think Crépeau has done anything wrong with the men's national team to make me argue against that, although I would be comfortable with Dane. Back four, two of them are relatively easy. You have Alistair Johnston at right back. You have Moise Bombito at center back. To replace Cornelius, I'm going to go with Joel Waterman.
Waterman? Okay.
It would be Waterman or Kamal Miller, the two options. I just think in terms of form, like it's a big hole. I mean, it shows a little bit of the lack of depth we have at the center back position, but I like Joel Waterman more right now, and I think he may get a look to go alongside Bombito there. At left back, there's the other debate. It's going to be Richie Larea or Sam Adekubi. Adekubi is a natural left back. He's playing well for the Whitecaps. I would almost lean towards him personally, but I have a feeling Jesse's going to go with Richie Larea. He's looked good for Canada. He always looks good for Canada. A lot of fans, including myself, don't always love him on the left-hand side. I think he's had some moments, but I do think Jesse Marsh is going to go with Richie Larea, so I will put Richie at left back. The four midfields, this one's pretty straightforward. I don't think Tajon Buchanan is quite ready to start, so I'm going Ali Ahmed at right mid. Kone's back in, so we have Kone, Eustachio as your two central midfielders. I mean, that's one of our stronger areas. Yep. No Liam Miller means Jacob Schaffelberg at left mid, and then the two strikers, David and Laren.
Okay. That seems nice to me. The areas where I think Schaffelberg over the left-hand side, you had said, and Ahmed over the right-hand side. Your two central midfielders are very strong, and not because it's a two. I saw you guys worked it in Jamaica. It quickly become a three. You guys are very skilled, but at that point, what you used a lot was the Alphonso Davies influence. He was always easily to drop inside, so I don't know how much confidence you are going to have with Richie Laryea coming not on that side, marking Charlotte Becker and feeling so comfortable to leave that spot. And I do believe that your coach is all about his principles. So what would you say? Because I think your pressing metrics that you try to rely on, I think is a perfect kryptonite for you, because this is a team that can pass out of anything. So are you worried about that? The ability that they have to pass out of everything?
I don't know if I'm worried about that area. I think we have enough good players that we can play through a press. You'll have Jonathan David has been excellent dropping in as well, kind of making a midfield three. He's basically almost playing as a 10, and he's been incredible. Their pressing game has been really good. What worries me is the left-hand side, but for a bit of a different reason. When you have Liam Miller starting alongside Alphonso Davies, Miller's played as a wing back before. He has a little bit more defensive responsibility. He's a workhorse going forward as well as tracking back. So when you're going up against someone like Charlotte Becker, when you have Alphonso Davies, who's a proper left back, and a left mid who's got the ability to come back, now all of a sudden you have Jacob Schaffelberg, who's a little bit more of a winger versus a midfielder. So you'll get caught. So there'll be space there, and then now you have Charlotte Becker maybe having 1v1 situations against Richie Larea, which would make me nervous. So I think Canada will dominate possession in terms of like 60-40, 65-35. And the areas I think that we're going to be nervous about is if we can't break down your back line, and I think we'll have some success in the midfield, is when you guys hit us on the break. Do you think that will be one of the areas that you'll be able to punish us, is if you win possession higher up the pitch and you have a counterattack basically?
That's what I'm looking at, because you said if Canada has 65% possession, which I think if they have 65% possession, I think Canada is okay, because I actually think Suriname will be going for possession, because I
Yeah.
don't think they actually fear teams. I saw them did the same thing to Mexico. Mexico coach came up and said, this is something special. So I saw that they go off it, and that's a good point. That's a good point. Knowing that they saw that Alphonso Davis is not there, Larie is not a natural left back. I think they're going to target that, and uh, and that's why I have to ask you, because I don't believe Jesse Marsh will change his system or tweak his system, because I think he wants to enforce his ways. So you have any feeling to think that the stubbornness of Marsh can because I'm on your side here. I think that
Yeah.
Canada is the favorites. I think that you're going to create slightly more chances, because your midfield, Kone and Ustakio, maybe they're not the greatest at their clubs, which I think that they're both good. In Concacaf region, they are two elite midfielders, and I just believe that they're going to have a better advantage over Kenneth Paul. Kenneth Paul is a natural right back. You understand me? So I expect that, but I just still believe that there is little room there for Suriname to exploit certain areas, and they're two wing players. I'm telling you, you're going to love Messidian after this game, because I actually believe that his take-ons are a little bit more smoother than Charlie Baker. Like, he's a natural dribbler, so he's so comfortable. So yes, as what you said, trying to win it up the pitch, I think they are very good at that, and the recovery speed of Abena makes it even better as well, because now you don't have the overlapping of Alphonso Davies, which is ridiculous speed. I think Abena's speed can match everyone. It's Denzel now you have to try and catch out, which Denzel can always slot in midfield because he's so comfortable, and Dexter would have come around, Ups would have made up the three because they are so comfortable. So I am seeing a good game, but I just believe that Suriname is not there as yet. Like, they need the reps as you guys, because even though you have a new coach, you still had your foundation.
Yep.
I don't think Suriname has the foundation. Like, they have the players now, but they're trying to set the foundation. So that is my only concern, and that's why I wanted them just to perform to show people that they have arrived.
Now that was one other area. So that was one area that I was a little nervous about, JD, because I do think we can get possession, but I'm curious because we are the away side.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like I'm noticing Concacaf in general, like we've seen the away team sometimes take it to the home team. So that's what I'm hoping
Yes.
Canada can do. But at the same time, if they don't for some reason go through that game plan, or Suriname are just not afraid and they take it to Canada, do you think possession can be a little bit closer? And do you think maybe Suriname could scare Canada right away? Because that's also something I'm a little bit worried about, is if it's just not quite up for it, if they don't bring that intensity right off the bat and they allow Suriname to settle into the match a little bit, do you think they could flip it? Or do you expect them to maybe respect the Canada and allow them to have the ball the way that I'm kind of thinking it may go?
I don't think they're going to respect Canada on the ball or allow them to have the ball, but I would say that they're going to respect the ability of the Canadians, and that's why they're going to press in certain areas, and they're going to press with the eye line as well, because it's at home. I think that they have that feeling. I think from the game for Mexico really changed everything. I saw Jamaica went there, they outplayed Jamaica there. I saw 80 went there, 80 was the better team in that game. The Mexico game, they were the actual better team, and they lost that game, I think 3. But make the chances that they had, they could have scored 6 or 5. You understand me? Then they played Costa Rica just a while ago. They were the better team in that game. They should have given it Costa Rica close to 7 on that pitch, because the atmosphere, they just believe that they can match them. And the pitch, a lot of people complain about the artificial pitches. You are okay with that, right? Canada, you have a lot of those pitches, right?
We have a lot of those pitches, yeah. They're
Also,
we have a lot of them, but that's a little bit of a debate between East Coast, West Coast. BC Place has an artificial pitch. BMO doesn't. We end up playing a lot more at BMO, and then the fans argue, well, we play there more because it is it's not an artificial pitch. However, BMO is in pretty rough shape right now.
oh,
But anyways, yes, our Canadian players are comfortable doing it, and during World Cup qualifying, they played on a ton of artificial pitches, including the one
okay,
near me at
okay.
Tim Hortons Field.
Okay,
So
well, for me, I think that they're going to respect Canada because obviously they do have history, and but yet still you have to look at their form and who they are going up against and what they're getting at home, because those are some of the top 10 teams in our region, and it seems to not be getting outplayed on the pitches, so they believe that they can come at Canada. I think David is in incredible form, so maybe he would relish things like that. So what you think? You think if they come on to them because they're at home, you think that Canada will relinquish the possession and say, okay, let me counter them? Are you not seeing something like that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it could go one of two ways. I think depending on how Suriname want to approach the match, I think Canada will have closer to 60% of the ball. However, I think the lowest I could see is it about be 50-50. And I'm kind of in between that 60 to 50 range mark. I think Canada will have a little bit more of the ball, will try to break them down, but they are the away team knowing that they have a home leg coming up. So I think that they will try to manage the game in a way. And I think it could be a bit of a chess match at some point, but I do think Canada will make some chances. I think they will struggle a bit at times, depending on what the atmosphere is like. But I am expecting a good game. And JD, that's where we're going to end it today, was with our two predictions here. So for any newer Canadian fan watching and maybe aren't 100% familiar with this Suriname team, I'm telling you, I do think it's going to be a close game. I think it could look ugly at times. I do think Canada will have a little bit more of the ball, have some better chances. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Canada win.
1-0.
1-0. I don't think it's going to be over. I don't think it's going to be an overly. It's not going to be. It's going to be a very difficult game, and it could also be like a 0-0. That's kind of the vibe I'm going with. JD, what do you think?
All right, I'm going to stay in the same ballpark as you, because overall, I do think Canada will be winning it. That's what I believe, because as what I've explained throughout the video, I am going to go with two score lines, if you allow me. I'm going to say, naturally, I'm leaning towards Canada 2-1.
Okay.
But I could see easy well a 2-2, because I want 2-1. I'm going to 2-1 Canada, but I think a 2-2 is not impossible. People, I am going to be back, and I'm telling you, people, you're going to be amazed.
All right, beautiful JD. I appreciate the time. You will be back on the channel very soon. We will be doing another preview for the second leg as well, so we'll see if one of our predictions is true. It was great chatting with you, JD, and I will see you in a few days.